Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. India's fertility rate touches its lowest ever. That means that the fertility rate is now 2 children per woman. A 2019 to 21 government health survey shows this major drop in the fertility rate. The biggest drop is in Chandigarh. The highest fertility rate India currently has is in Uttar Pradesh. The big crypto crash on the confusion over regulation versus ban of cryptocurrencies. Government sources tell NDTV there is no final draft of the crypto bill yet and no date on when it will be tabled in Parliament. Sources, however, say the government is considering crypto not being legal tender but becoming an asset. The cabinet today clears a bill repealing the 3 controversial farm laws after the Prime Minister addressed the nation. The Prime Minister's free food grain scheme is extended. Exclusive, a bill to dilute government stake in government banks is in an advanced stage. It now needs cabinet clearance. The proposal at the current stage is to dilute government stake in 2 major national banks. Asia's biggest airport coming up in Noida near Delhi. The Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone of the airport in Uttar Pradesh tomorrow. It will be a zero emissions airport. It's also Uttar Pradesh's 5th international airport, but with land acquired at record speed. Farmers who gave up their land living in tents. The Supreme Court on air pollution tells the centre and state governments, look at the signal we are sending to the world with our national capital's pollution. They say we will continue to hear the pollution case till we are satisfied on measures. And literally money found down the drain. 50 lakh rupees seized from a junior engineer's house in Karnataka from, well, he'd hidden it in the water drain and the ceiling in his house. Our lead story tonight, well, the major focus is on 2 big stories. One, of course, is the great news that India's fertility numbers are actually dropping. Rishika is the latest in that government survey, and Sonal in the 24 hours after, well, that crypto crash. First, Rishika, over to you, because these are really important numbers out in this new government survey.
Well, absolutely. The Health Ministry has released the findings of the National Family Survey, and the data points to a major milestone for India as the fertility rate has dropped from 2.2%, from 2.2, I beg your pardon, in 2015-16 to 2 in 2019-2021. As you rightly pointed out, Sonia, this is the lowest ever fertility rate. It's the lowest in Chandigarh at 1.4 and highest in Uttar Pradesh, above the average at 2.4. Now, 13% increase has been reported in the use of family planning methods, which is up from 54% in 2015-16 to now 67%. But what is extremely significant here is that the total fertility rate, which has, remember, slipped to 2, is now below the replacement level, which is at 2.1, and this has happened for the very first time. The replacement mark at 2.1 children per woman is an indication, an important indication that the population of India is indeed stabilizing. The replacement rate continues to be below the fertility rate in all states except Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh.
Thanks so much, Rishika. So really important numbers there, given the fact that India was set to overtake China as the most populous country in the world in a few years. So encouraging numbers from the new government health survey there. But the other big story, and this is really about, well, something that's not even legal yet, cryptocurrency. It's something which has got lakhs of Indian investors already because it's in a grey area. And with news coming in of the government possibly banning it, there was complete panic last night. But Sonal and Akhilesh have the latest on what's happening right now. And Akhilesh, first to you on what the government is actually thinking, because the panic spread after a draft note which said that the government would ban all digital currencies. What is the government saying now, Akhilesh?
Well, we have 2 models, Sonia. One is El Salvador, where it has been adopted as a legal currency, legal tender. And of course, the people, they were on the street protesting government's decision. And on the other hand, we have China's model, where they have completely banned the cryptocurrency. But it still, it has penetrated through the dark net. So we have what the government sources are telling us, that we have to adopt a middle path. neither the El Salvador model, neither the China model, but a middle path has to be adopted. And as far as the draft is concerned, the government sources are telling us that the discussion is at the advanced stage. It has not been finalized yet. And in fact, today's cabinet meeting, it was expected to be moved, but there was no draft which was moved to before the cabinet. And the sources are also telling us that the cryptocurrency is very important, and India wants to have its own digital currency, which is provided in the bill. The RBI is going to launch its own digital currency, but the private cryptocurrencies will not be banned as such, because India wants to use this technology, but in what shape and in what form, that is to be discussed yet. And it will not be a legal tender, but it can be an asset, which is what the government sources are telling us. But they are not in hurry. They are saying that the draft is still being worked out, and it is not finalized yet when it will be put before the cabinet.
Thanks, Akhilesh. So, Sonal, some much needed clarity there coming that the B word or the ban word is not something which has really been put out there yet by the government, and there's been some talks. Now, what are you hearing? Because, of course, you're on the crypto beat, perhaps a millennial anchor reporter on the crypto beat. What are you hearing from your industry sources? And the fact, really, I think that still amazes so many of us that so many people are investing in something which is not legal tender.
It's not legal yet, but it's regulated, and regulated is the word the industry is also talking about so much, Sonia, as of this moment. And what NDTV can also report, what Akhilesh has also been saying as of this moment, is not a ban, but regulation is what is being looked at. But let's just rewind 24 hours. Just about this time yesterday, we got the news for the first time that the crypto bill, we didn't know in what form really it's going to be, was going to be tabled, was part of the list that came out from Lok Sabha. Now, that really spread a lot of panic because it mentioned the word ban in it. Now, what exactly happened in the information we now have really is the fact that this is an older version of the bill that has actually been put out. This is the bill that was crafted in 2019, but India has had quite a journey since then, and we are now not looking at a ban, not looking at what RBI said, taking into note what the Supreme Court also said while removing that ban and working towards regulation. Key things that NDTV can report as of this moment. Like Akhilesh said, it will be an asset class, not a legal tender, meaning cryptocurrency is not here actually to replace your rupee or INR or US dollar or anything of that sort. This is here as an asset for people to invest in, and a technology that will really leap forward India in the coming times as well. Something that the Prime Minister has also agreed with. At the moment, the industry feels that they've got all good feelers and a thumbs up from the government, at least so far. But on the fine print of who will regulate, how will it actually work, will SEBI come into the picture or will RBI, all those things yet to be finalized. But all eyes at the moment on what happens next. Remember, the parliamentary panel has already met on this, and very soon they will actually have people from the government of India come and depose in front of them, and that will be another day filled with crypto headlines for you and I.
Thanks so much, Sonal. Well, let's go across to what actually happened. Also, the cabinet, the big decision there was a bill to withdraw the 3 controversial farm laws, which was initially tabled by the government last year. The bill to withdraw it has been cleared by the cabinet today, and it will be tabled in the winter session, which begins on Monday. Also, importantly, Prime Minister's free food grain scheme has been extended, as first announced during the COVID pandemic.
जैसा आपको ज्ञात है कि 19 तारीख को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने गुरुपुरब के अवसर पर देश को संबोधित करते हुए ये घोषणा की थी कि तीनों कृषि कानून वापस लिए जाएंगे, और उसके बाद आज जब कैबिनेट की बैठक हुई तो उसमें इन सभी औपचारिकताओं को पूरा करके कैबिनेट ने तीनों बिल वापस लेने का जो औपचारिकता है उसको पूरा किया है. As I said, in the upcoming winter session, the priority will be to take these bills and repeal them. गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना के माध्यम से देश के लगभग 80 करोड़ से ज़्यादा लोगों को 5 किलो गेहूं या चावल मुफ्त में देने की योजना, जो मार्च 2020 से लेकर अब तक लगभग 15 महीने तक देश के करोड़ों को देने का काम किया है, करोड़ों लोगों को देने का काम किया है, उसमें दिसंबर 2021 से लेकर मार्च 2022 तक 4 महीने के लिए बढ़ाने का निर्णय किया गया है.
Well, moving across to a big NDTV exclusive, a lot happening now with bills with Parliament coming up, and in an advanced stage is a bill which looks at diluting government stake in public sector banks. Sunil Prabhu has the details. Now, Sunil, this bill hasn't been cleared yet, but what are the current details of this proposal which is at an advanced stage?
Well, Sonia, the finance minister herself had made this announcement in the budget of her last year, where she had announced that she would be diluting public sector banks and privatizing them. So this legislation, which is aimed to ensure that all public sector banks can reduce their stake from 51% to 26%. It also makes it a provision for ensuring in consultation with the RBI for foreign institutional investors to increase their stake from beyond 20%, because that's the regulation, that's the cap that is there. This is part of the Indira Gandhi's Nationalization Act, which had happened when they wanted to privatize, ensure that banks were privatized. Now we are going 40 years later, a big step forward in terms of trying to unbundle and ensure there's greater transparency and accountability, there'll be better remuneration, better corporate governance, and ensure hopefully better management of public sector banks, not only at the director level, but even at the managerial level.
Right,
so this is some of the steps that have been taken, this which have been envisaged. We'll have to wait and see how it goes forward from there.
Right, so 40 years after Indira Gandhi's nationalization scheme, now a privatization scheme for public sector banks, likely to be politically controversial, but the government at this time, as you said, the finance minister has made it clear the government is going ahead as of now. Meanwhile, the other big news, Asia's largest airport is going to be in Noida in Uttar Pradesh, bordering Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of the Noida International Airport tomorrow. This, of course, part also of a series of public events and foundation stones being laid before the Uttar Pradesh elections. There are many big new points about this airport, which will be managed by the same group which manages the Zurich International Airport, including zero emissions. However, some controversy over the fact that land was acquired at record speed because, of course, UP elections are around the corner. So farmers who have sold their land are still living in tents.
This massive new airport in Jewar near Delhi, the Noida International Airport, will be India's first with net zero emissions once ready by 2024. The first phase of the airport is spread over 1,300 hectares of land and will cost over 10,000 crore rupees to build. Eventually, the entire project is likely to cost upwards of 30,000 crore rupees. Once ready, the airport will help decongest the Indira Gandhi International Airport by serving over 1 crore passengers a year. In other firsts, the government says the airport will have an integrated multimodal cargo hub with the dedicated cargo terminal having an initial capacity of 20 lakh metric tons. The project has earmarked dedicated land to be developed as a forest park. The airport is crucial for the BJP and Chief Minister Adityanath, who visited the project site on Tuesday. Ahead of Uttar Pradesh's crucial state election early next year, the airport is being showcased as a key infrastructure project that brings connectivity to millions in Western UP.
आप देखते होंगे 2017 तक उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर केवल 2 एयरपोर्ट फंक्शनल थे। हम सब आभारी हैं प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के, जिनके कारण उड़ान योजना में आज उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर हमारे 9 एयरपोर्ट फंक्शनल हो चुके हैं। आज हम लोग 80 से अधिक स्थानों से प्रदेश को जोड़ चुके हैं।
But already there are hiccups. Barely 700 meters from where the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for the airport, these rows of tents belong to farmers who say they have not been compensated yet for their land which was acquired.
Farmers are not against the development, or they are not against airport as well. In fact, they are happy, but they are saying they should be compensated legally and rehabilitated according to the Land Acquisition Act.
जमीन को मुआवजा जायज ना मिलो, अच्छा, ना ही मकान को मिलो। प्लॉट दियो 90 मीटर, 90 मीटर में हम क्या कर लेंगे? कोर्ट में हमारा केस चल रहा है, भैंस भी न बांध पावे जी। वहाँ तो हम कुछ भी ना कर पाएंगे।
हमें 5-5.5 लाख रुपए मिल गए हैं, हमें प्लॉट नहीं मिला, मकान का पैसा नहीं मिला, हम सर यही जो पड़े झोपड़ी में बना के अपनी में। प्लॉट की यही कह रहे हैं जी, डेली जाता हूँ मैं जेवर, डेली अधिकारी इनके धोरे नु कह दे के हाँ देंगे देंगे, बस ये कह दे के छुट जाते हैं।
आपके पास कागज तो है?
कागज बिल्कुल तैयार है जी, देख सकते हो आप।
The UP government claims most farmers in the area have accepted compensation and land, but some have disputed the compensation amount and their cases are being heard by tribunals. With Saurabh Shukla and Vishnu Som, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, let's move now to the COVID numbers. And the good news in India that though cases remain below 10,000 for the second day running, they are higher than yesterday. But remember that of course is because on there's low testing on Sundays and Mondays. So though the cases are up in the last 24 hours, they're well below 10,000. The deaths are up in the last 24 hours. That's because of a backlog of deaths added to the numbers. The vaccinations today are over 84 lakhs, up 10%, so that's good news. The tests also up, and the daily positivity rate continues to be below 1%. The other big issue here is air pollution. So the Supreme Court continuing to hear that case with the centre and the state governments as defendants. The Supreme Court today said, this is the national capital. Look at the pollution here and look at the signal we are sending to the world. The court told the centre to prepare a scientific model to combat Delhi air pollution in the entire national capital region, take steps in anticipation to prevent air quality becoming severe. Stubble burning is going to be a big issue in the future. What is the bureaucracy doing? The court added, we are not going to close this matter. We'll continue to hear this case till we come to a resolution. The air quality was 403 on the 16th of November. Now it's 290. The situation has improved. And Delhi today also announced that they would only allow CNG trucks and electric trucks into Delhi, though of course private cars and vehicles will be allowed from bordering states. Meanwhile, as with pollution shutting down schools in Delhi and bordering areas in Haryana and UP, and in Maharashtra, primary schools being shut down because of COVID, parents in both states are writing to chief ministers and the lieutenant governors saying, why are schools last priority? Delhi will now open schools from Monday.
Finally, Delhi's children can return to school after a 2-week closure due to the pollution emergency. Their education has suffered the most during the COVID crisis and the toxic air.
3 दिनों से लगातार प्रदूषण के स्तर में सुधार हो रहा है। मंडे से सोमवार से सभी स्कूल, कॉलेज, इंस्टीट्यूट, लाइब्रेरी जो बैन था वो सभी खोल दिए जाएंगे।
This comes after a group of 140 Delhi parents sent a letter to the Lieutenant Governor. Simran Khara signed the letter because her 5-year-old daughter Meera is losing interest in Zoom classes.
She's actually been to school 1 day out of 600 days. For a 5-year-old, you can imagine how difficult it is to focus online, and that whole sort of, childhood where you play with friends, you learn from each other, that's just totally been absent. I mean, we're parents to a single child, so we've not been able to give her that kind of company at home.
In Mumbai, the same problem but different reason, COVID, which hit the city very badly. Parents have written to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra to reopen schools for all grades.
Parents who are willing and ready to send their kids to school should be allowed to do so. We will not at any point hold the BMC, the government or anyone, even the school, accountable for anything that happens. We know that COVID is still very much prevalent.
Pediatricians say schools can reopen with vaccines for kids likely soon, and prolonged closure is affecting kids more, with issues of obesity and mental health.
We do not need to wait for the kid to be vaccinated before a school reopens. Of course, the schools will have to follow a lot of COVID protocols. There may be a hybrid model of teaching ongoing.
Some parents, however, are skeptical.
As a parent, I am not confident enough to send my child back to school given the current situation. While things have really been improving, still sending my daughter back to school without her being vaccinated is very dicey for me.
The Guardian Minister for Mumbai, Aditya Thackeray, says that the Maharashtra government is hoping to reopen schools soon, safely for all grades, after discussions with all stakeholders. With Meher Pandey in New Delhi, in Mumbai, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.